Hello ladies, gentlemen, and friends, everyone else watching. We're going to be going through the same artifacts that we went through in the last video. This time with some audio. I'm finally unlocked in my account, so I can give some audio interpretations this time. So let's go ahead and take a look at these together, will we? So these artifacts are more of the easier ones. A couple of them are just arrowheads and turtleback scrapers and things. I'll go ahead and adjust you up just a hair. We're going to be a little bit close today. That looks like as far as I can get the camera without shaking you around too much. So let's look at some of these turtleback scrapers. These are known to be artifacts that are found in North Carolina. They represent turtlebacks. And I don't see any images or faces carved into these. These are very smooth. I guess it's possible, but from what I see, these are just tools. These could be from a later date as well. You can see how they're pyramid shaped. They definitely were fans of pyramids. There may be some things on this. It looks like there's some etching and things, but that could just be tool marks. Perhaps there's an eye for a bird right there. Maybe some paint. Not sure. Everything in this site is ceremonial. The wooden bow was ceremonial. The wooden club is ceremonial. The huge ridgetop mound, which is only found in Cahokia, obviously a ceremonial mound. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We'll kill this light here, and we're going to use my other little light that I have. Might kill that other little light too. And we're going to kind of use the shadows here to kind of help us out, and maybe some different colors as well. So of course this is the owl, and we'll play around with the colors. That way we can try to see the eyes and things of the owl. Hopefully you guys are seeing the circle face and the two little blue eyes there. Yeah, let me go ahead and get rid of this other light because I feel like it's messing with it. There we go. So you see his little round face, and he's got his two little eyes there. And I pointed it out in the last one, but there's actually a little portrait as well, just right on the head. Go ahead and get our focus right. There we go. So just right here in this smallest little section, there's actually a portrait. You may be able to see it in the shadows there a little better. When I first started collecting, I found this, and I wrote owl on the back of it, not knowing that there's so much more on this on the back and everything. So of course regret doing that. Shouldn't write on the artifacts. You're just covering things up if you do that. There was a comment in the last video about maybe a snake on this owl. I think it was Paul. Thank you for your comment, Paul. Let's go ahead and take a look and see if we can see that snake that Paul pulled out of it. This is a higher level one for sure, but of course they always have a, not always, but they oftentimes have an outside image that's a little easier to see. Trying to get our focus right for us. I'm getting probably a little too close. Ran out of hand, so I'm using my nose to focus. There we go. If you look closely right on this top section, you see a large eye. See this circle? And I'm looking through the screen with you guys. The camera is definitely, makes it easier to see some of these images. Let's zoom in just a hair and see how that works. Here we go. Pretty neat. Let's go ahead and change our light around a little bit. The different shades of light are going to make different colors come out. So that may help see some of the paint and things that's on this. Let's go ahead and move on. 5 minutes on that one, guys. Sorry about that. So of course this is the duck head. You can see how his eyes carved in here, and he's got his yellow beak. That's the best way to hold this light. It fades in and out. Now this duck head looks lifelike. You can point them right at you, but of course the best way to look at this art is as if the object or person or animal is looking away from you. So you can see his round cheek there. All I know about is this duck head on this side. Of course, when you cover the rest of them up, and that's the way a lot of these work, they're interactive. So we use our hands and cover up some parts of it. There's probably something on this side too. Not really sure what it would be though. You can still see some of the paint of this headdress person here. That's painted an eye there for the main outside image. Then there's another profile and an interior edge here as well. Very cool. But the duck head is very defined, as you guys can see. It almost looks too real. And I don't know if it's a duck, maybe it's a goose, I'm not sure, but you can, of course, see him pretty well. This is Raisin. This is the one I call Raisin. It's one of my favorite little artifacts, just a little duck head for sure. With his yellow beak there and his little yellow spot there for his eye. Let's go ahead and look around him and see if we can see anything else. Definitely a portrait on this side you can see coming out already. You can see some of the paint for the spikes there. I might turn that light back on in a minute. You guys have already seen it with the full light on, so it's interesting to give it a look with the other light, other types of light here, so you can see the paint. Of course, we know this style. This is where the bird is just printed on the end of the rock with his beak on the left-hand side. You can see his little recessed beak there and the little black spot for his eye at the top, and then his tail wing and everything coming out here. So we have a couple of these examples where the birds are just printed on this little section here. And I hope you guys are seeing him pretty well. The way that I started finding these is checking the fit of the hand. So at this site, when you put an artifact in your hand and you close your fist, it always makes your pointer finger stick out just a little bit. So if you're artifact collecting and you find a weird stone, check the fit of the left hand, and if it fits a certain way, see if the other stones in that area fit the same way. So in the middle of this, there is a triangle, and this is kind of a vision test. So people that know how to see the art or know how to look at the stones in a way of detail that we've learned from studying them will be able to see this diamond shape in the middle here. But with the shadows here, I might be able to get it out. There's a eye in the middle of this bird effigy here. This was a culture of awareness. They celebrated awareness, and it's kind of funny, you know, that the eyes are on the foreheads and on the headdresses and sometimes right in the middle of the birds, when really a lot of us are just trying to show you guys how to see. I mean, I guess they knew that it wasn't, you know, not everybody could see. So hopefully you guys are seeing the small little diamond shape in there. But you'll notice the similarities between this bird and our, you know, my most valuable piece here, which is just simply a little sandstone bird. Now, of course, we see how this beak is square. This is like a duck. You can see how the tail, the whole body of the duck, the back of the back of the duck there. And he actually has red on his crest still, so you can see the paint there on his crest. It's just shaped like a duck, especially when you tilt it, you can see how broad that duck is. Now, when we put him like this, you can see now the crest is square, like a crest should be, and the beak is pointy, like a beak should be. He even has two little feet down here, which I kind of tried to print down there. You see that? So, using my sign language in the last video, I know wasn't like optimal, so I thought I'd revisit these with you guys and just try to talk to you guys about these and see if your interpretations were the same as mine. So It's interesting because this is one bird, right? And then this is another bird. This is my most valuable piece because it is an example of the complex nature of this art. Now, of course, this is a dog head. And in person, everybody at the conference could see this. I would got to the point where I was just turning them and saying, and this is and they would shout, dog head. And little kids were into it. It was great. The dog's eye, I believe, is right here. There's another little red eye there too, so it could be interpreted as that eye. But you can see how his nose is painted black there as well. And you see how it's nice and square, like a dog's head should be. So you see that squarish dog head. And then when you flip it, see it turns into a goose head. So you see how round the head is now at this point, with the recession for the beak and the eye close to the beak there. It's a very interesting piece. There are also characters, humans in here. Some of them you have to get at pretty strong angles to get to. This is a teaching piece. This is a piece to learn from. So this is a character with the hair bunched up. I was wrong, sorry. This is the character with the hair bunched up. Didn't think it looked right. And what's interesting is when you really tilt this one to the extreme edges, you'll see that tiny little ripple or indentation for lips. You really have to get it to the edge for this one. And this is how we view the art. This is the trick to it. You can see the circle. You might be able to start seeing her pop out now. You see how this is all hair, so it's as if the person's looking away from us. This side just has a character with a headdress, like a little pointy headdress on. And I believe he kind of goes like this, so you can see the little lines and things in here coming back. Or it may even be a feather down here. You see that red color, especially when we tilt it, that color comes out. See how there's this little feather hanging back down here? They're very crafty, and see how that eye gets see how it has a shape now. When you look at it, you notice there's a little square shape. You can see those little indentions there. This is a very neat piece, and this is a version of this, which is also a version of this. So all these pieces are representing this original duck, and this may have been the child's toy, and when the child grew up, this may have been their, their effigy or their spirit stone as an adult. So of course this is a much higher level stone. I'm sure there's things on it, but we're not quite there yet to find it. Remember though, of course, according to our archaeologist here in North Carolina, Dr. David Cranford, this is merely a pebble. Here is a cardinal head, and without the proper lighting, we're not going to, let's go ahead and turn the big light back on here, at least one of the bulbs. There we go. That way we can still get some more shadows and things. So they would use the colors of the stones as well to depict what they are. So we have our orange cardinal head and we have our white duck head here. So it wasn't just the shape, it was the color and the natural inclusions, of course, they used. This is the wild-tailed bird. If you guys are new to the channel, I urge you guys to check out all the archetypes and motifs that we've been trying to put together. This is open research. See how I don't know if there's much on the other side, but you can see how this side is polished and made to look like this cardinal head, whereas this side's really rough and does have some rough edges and things on it as well. So of course you guys know about points. This is a pretty neat point. We showed that just briefly, but you can see all the little jagged edges on it. It's a very sharp point still. And more than likely this was a ceremonial piece. It does have some kind of black paint on it, as you can see. And I believe it does have images on it as well. I don't like looking at this one too much because it is a weapon, and the weapons get you fired up when you look at them. They produce a lot of sweat on your forehead, and especially when you're really good at seeing them. But let's go ahead and take a look. You see the orange splatter right there with the eye in the middle. So these, were meant to invoke, a sense of urgency, for lack of a better term. But there are little petroglyphs and things all over this. Unrecognizable. I'd have to look at this a little bit, but there are little characters and things on this as well. I'm not sure what all the symbols mean. I've been doing lots of research to try to find out what some of these things mean. Researching Mississippian art, listening to everything that Edwin Barnhart has been putting out. He's a archaeologist. He's got an ArchaeoEd YouTube channel, so he just does podcasts, guys. Really cool guy. So it was really fun to do this conference. I did start to videotape a few people, and some people felt a little uncomfortable about it, so I just turned it off and I didn't post the videos of the people's reactions, which I can understand. It took me a while to be able to show my face on camera too, because this is kind of a controversial thing, right? But you know what? So if I don't, what I'm trying to say is if I'm not going to show my face on camera, then how can I expect other people to, right? It wouldn't really be fair. So I ended up just doing what I could there in person. When you're with somebody in person, you really want to try to be in the moment with them. And so that's what I did. But it was really great. Thank you guys for the subscribers that came out. We had an archaeologist from Michigan come down, flew down just for this conference, just to see these artifacts. He was really taken back by the bow. It was pretty interesting. He gave me some tips and some contacts, and he says he's going to try to do some more work on, on trying to help. But really, if you look around, if you're ever in my situation, and you go down west of the Mississippi, you'll see that a lot more people are willing to help. There's a lot more open-mindedness. People are a little bit further along in their appreciation. I keep on dropping this one, for ancient art or indigenous art, or even Paleo-Indian art, perhaps. So check out, I think it's Crow Archaeological Center. They're pretty cool. But anyway, back to the conference. It was a great time. 2 days solid, just talking to people, one after the other, after the other, after the other. It was quite amazing. So this is an artifact that's not usually found here. Of course, we know from the last video, these are magnetic. Several of these are magnetic, more than I even thought. But of course, you can see the character here. Let's go ahead and kill this light again, and I'm just going to keep it on a white light. That way we can see some of the shadows here a little better. Get our focus right. There we go. So you can see his eye in there, carved in, and if you look closely, you can see the little lines and things. Lots of detail in this little piece of iron ore, or a rock that's rich in iron anyway. And there's a couple different eyes. You see this one with the long pupil here. Also some other shapes on here and things too, but you can see how this is a character. And as we move it away or tilt it, some of those features will come out a little better. There is a lot on this one. There's a nice right side profile as well. So you look for the nose, look for the portion of where the mouth would be if that was the nose, and then look for the eye. If you look on the headdress here, you'll see an eye, maybe for a face as well, though. Go ahead and flip it over and take a look here. Now we have laughing face fella. So these motifs do repeat. His nose is way up here. This is his upper lip, his bottom lip, and his eye is right here. That's the center of his eye. You can see the carved out section. So laughing face is one of the characters. He repeats over and over. There's a couple different eyes as well, so you can see these ones as well. Anywhere you see these little details and things, that's where the eyes are. And if you guys find some of these, feel free to email me and I'll check them out. It was really neat to have some people. So on Sunday, some people, like some husbands of the ladies that I talked to, some of them came up to help there's a lot of readers there and mediums and psychics and things. And some of the husbands came down to give their wives a hand on unpacking. And I guess the word got out. So 2 people brought artifacts for me to interpret and to look at, which was a lot of fun. Of course, we're seeing this Mount Rushmore style fella pointing at us here. This is a unique one because it has, the face pointing right at us. The one that I'm really excited to look at with you guys is this clay object here. So this clay object is it's very defined and has a lot of easy to see images, easy to see faces. So it's a pretty neat one. Of course, you guys know what chunky stones are. Chunky stones are stones that were made for gaming. This one seems like everything out there is kind of broken, right? But you can see the divots. There's a little divot here. And then on the other side as well, there's a little divot. And there are some little petroglyphs or paint on here as well, but not much else. This was one of these gaming stones or maybe some type of grinder. It looks like it was a cylinder of some sort. That was pretty neat. And when I first started finding these things, I didn't know what they were. I just saw that there was red paint, black paint, white paint on several of these stones. I still don't know exactly what this is. Perhaps a duck head. Looks to me like a duck head, maybe, a meme of a duck head. Just like we have Mickey Mouse, it's a meme of a mouse. Doesn't look anything like an actual mouse, right? These are memes. So just finding these with the paint on them like this let me know that something was going on, kept me going out there. A scientist is a person who never lost their curiosity throughout childhood. That's Neil deGrasse Tyson's quote. He also says that some of the greatest discoveries are the ones that have been in front of us the entire time, which I believe that's true. So this one's a really neat one. It's got so many defined things on it because it is made of clay, so you can see all these little portraits coming out in it. I really like this one. It's got several of them on there. I think they're only on one side though, so like when you flip it, it doesn't have a whole lot. But I could just not be interpreting it or reading it just correctly. Sorry, I'm shaking a little bit. My hand's getting a little tired here. Well, I think that's probably it for now. I just kind of wanted to go through these again with you and say hello and let you guys know that I'm back in the account. So we'll have some more on-site footage, and I've got to go through some more artifacts too, some more higher level artifacts. So we'll get off these easy ones and go back to the more tougher ones. So until then, see you next time. Bye-bye.